come up, speak up. When you have something on your mind you'd like to get off your chest, what's the thing to do? If you're burned up about something and want to cool off, what's the thing to do? If you feel denied, passed up, or passed by, what's the thing to do? You said it. The You Tell 'Em Club is the clearinghouse for people with new ideas, suggestions, constructive criticisms, complaints, secret ambitions, hidden talents, inventions, and 1,001 other things they want the world to know. So join the You Tell 'Em Club and you tell 'em. What's more, you get paid for telling. And here's the man with the ever-ready ear, your president of the You Tell 'Em Club, Tom Slater.
Thank you, George Willard, and good evening, members. Well, tonight we meet and admit a very interesting group of new members, so let's get going without any ado. And our first new member, George,
Our first new member, Tom, is Mrs. Marcia Brown, who is quite provoked about something. Mr. Slater, meet Mrs. Brown.
I'm kind of afraid if she's provoked, but I'll step up at her. She's littler than I am. How do you do, Mrs. Brown?
How do you do?
That's pretty, isn't it? Where are you from, Mrs. Brown?
Flatbush.
Flatbush. All right. Now, there's nothing funny about Flatbush. Don't get out there in her territory. What do you do out in Flatbush?
I'm a housewife.
Is that a hard job?
I'll say.
You bet. That's what my wife says, too. She's always so rested. I understand you're provoked about something, Mrs.
I
Brown.
certainly am.
The way you said that, I believe you. All right, go ahead, Mrs. Brown. You tell him. What is it?
Well, a few weeks ago, I heard a man on this program complain about noisy neighbors.
That's right. He was Mr. Henderson, formerly of... Somebody back there agrees with him. You can come up later and tell us about your neighborhood. He's Mr. Henderson, formerly of Marblehead, Massachusetts. And I'd like, incidentally, pardon me a minute, Miss Brown, I'd like Mr. Henderson to know that we received a letter from one of our listeners, Mr. Frank Morse. We got a letter on the program, made us very happy. Mr. Morse, once of Marblehead, now West Roxbury, Massachusetts, suggests that Mr. Henderson move back to his hometown where it's very peaceful and quiet. If he didn't like the noise. You'll pardon the interruption, Miss Brown.
Oh, that's all right. I've got plenty of time.
Oh, that's good. Well, just call up the studio. They're telling Master Control we're in no hurry. We're going to stay on the air. All right, what were you saying now, Miss Brown?
I was saying, I heard this Mr. Marblehead on your program.
Henderson. Mr. Henderson, not a Marblehead.
Oh, excuse me.
That's perfect. All right, just compose yourself, Mrs. Brown.
My husband said I'd make a darn fool of myself on the radio.
But you're not, Mrs. Brown. I've seen much worse. Did Mr. Henderson inspire you to join the You Tell 'Em Club when he complained about noisy neighbors?
I'll say, because I've got something to say about neighbors myself.
Now, be very careful what you say here on the radio. You mean noisy neighbors?
No, untidy and careless neighbors.
Untidy. That's a pity. Tell us about them, Mrs. Brown.
Well, you see, I live on the second floor of an apartment house.
Yes?
And how would you like for people upstairs to shake their rugs out the windows right into your dining room?
I wouldn't like that at all.
I'll say. And they water their flowers so the water splashes right down on the windows that have just been cleaned.
I wouldn't like that either.
And they put a wet mop out the window to dry.
They do that, Mrs. Brown?
I'll say. And cigarette butts. And some of them are lit, too, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, I'll say. I'll say.
And every time I go to the incinerator, it's stuffed full with somebody's rubbish, what they're too lazy to push down, and there's no room for mine.
No room for your rubbish, huh?
No. And that reminds me of my husband.
The rubbish reminds you of your husband? Don't let him hear you.
He says if there's no room for my rubbish, I should throw it right down on the floor by the incinerator.
Just like that. And do you?
No, I push the other people down.
You push the people down the incinerator?
No, I mean the other people's rubbish.
I thought that's what you meant, Miss Brown. You look like a nice lady. Have you complained to your landlord?
Who knows who's the landlord? It's an incorporation.
An incorporation.
I told the man what collects the rent.
Oh, the renting agent?
Yes, it goes in one year and out the other.
Well, what do you think that our little You Tell 'Em Club can do about it?
Well, that's what I'd like to know. Maybe I'm just wasting my breath.
Not at all, Mrs. Brown. Never waste your breath. I'm the only one that does that on this show. When we read your letter, we invited the renting agent, the same gentleman who advised Mr. Henderson what to do about noisy neighbors. And here he is, Mrs. Brown, Mr. Kipple. Mr. Kipple, Mrs. Brown. Mr. Kipple, you heard Mrs. Brown's lament. As a renting agent, what can be done about it, sir?
Well, You told us about this, and I had our legal department, which advises us on legal matters, draw up an answer which I deem is correct and legal.
Would you go ahead and let us hear it, sir?
In all metropolitan cities, you will find tenants who are slovenly housekeepers and do the things this lady mentioned. Now, renting agents are representatives of landlords and not law-enforcing officers. Also, they cannot go to tenants living above the complaining tenants and accuse them of the things the complaining tenant complains about. Unless the complaining tenant stands ready with conclusive proof of complaint that anyone or more tenants living above him or her are guilty of the complaint she or he complains about, upon which they will be served with a summons of complaint.
He got that all out. I think that is very That's a very fancy thing, Mr. Kipple. What do you think of that, Mrs. Brown?
Not much. Who's got time to stand all day long looking up to see who's shaking rugs or throwing things out the windows of which I am complaining?
Well, by the same token, you don't expect us to stand there and watch them, do you?
Well, just the same, it should be stopped.
Well, you don't expect us to go in and board up windows or maybe get a net for butts or get a sponge for the water that drips, do you?
You fellas always manages to be around on the first of the month.
After all, when the tenant has to
That'll do, Mr. Kip. Let's not get into a controversy. The You Tell 'em Club isn't a mediation board, sir. It's just a place to let off steam, and the steam's been getting off here. You did, Mrs. Brown, and honestly, don't you feel better?
Well, I guess I do.
Yeah, of course you do, with all that steam gone. Here's your $5 and more stamp, and thanks for being with us. And here's a little gift for you, Mr. Kipple, a box of cigars.
Oh, thank you.
That's all right.
I have a way for Mrs. Brown to get rid of that complaint. If she wants to get rid of those people above her, she can remedy that.
How's that, Mr. Kipple?
Move to the top floor.
Elevating, Mr. Kipple, elevating.
Our next new member comes with a complaint. Tom, meet Mr. J.D. Israel.
Oh, greetings, Mr. Israel.
How do you do, Mr. Slater?
Oh, for a country boy, I get along. Where are you from, Mr. Israel?
Lowell, Mass.
Lowell, Massachusetts. Were you born there?
Yes, 31 years ago.
31 years ago. You speak your age out just right like that.
Why, I'm not ashamed of it.
You're not ashamed of it. When you get old like me, you'll change your mind.
Oh, no.
Do you work here now, sir?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do?
I'm a stock clerk.
I see.
The ladies know everybody.
Lady Miller, I see. You pack things?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Do you pack the things you ship, or do you just ship the things you pack?
We pack the things we ship.
All right. Do you like your job, sir?
Certainly.
Uh-huh. Well, what's your complaint?
Well, I can't work with women. They bother me too much.
You hate to work with them? You mean women work in the same place you work and you hate to work with them?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my land. You don't like women?
Not to work with them.
Not that you don't want to work with them. Well, why not, sir?
Because they're nags, they crab so much and you can't get a word out of them.
Uh-huh. You can't get a word out of a woman?
No, because you always got to give them the last word.
They want the last word. They don't mind how many you get as long as they get
That's
the last
right.
word. They're kind of bossy, too.
That's right.
Uh-huh. You find that women in your business, you find them hard to please?
Certainly.
Mm-hmm.
They always haunt you.
They always haunt you. They haunt me, too, but I can't get close to them. Do you object? I'll speak to you, lady, in the third row there after the show. Do you object to working with young, pretty women, Mr. Israel?
Providing that they have a smile and know how to win the men.
You don't mind that. Did you ever try bringing flowers or an apple, walking up to work, with a bouquet of
Certainly.
flowers?
They think I'm a poor fellow. They don't want anything from me.
It would be poor if they took everything you brought.
That's right.
Well, how do they act, say, after business hours?
They laugh. They're rigid. They're funny. They go behind your back.
They're rigid, they're frigid, huh?
That's right.
To get behind your back, did you ever try to date them up?
Sure. One left me on a corner. And I left her.
I had that happen lots of times. Too much to complain about. Truthfully, are you a woman hater?
No.
No. But you just can't get along with the women in your place?
That's right.
You don't like to work with them?
Some of the men, but they can't get along without the men.
Well, why don't you quit?
Why? Because they're everywhere. Every corner, all over the world, all over the United States, in the Army. You can't get rid of them.
In the Army? And in the Navy.
That's right.
The spars here tonight. Every place you go, you find a woman.
That's right.
Have you met any other men who have the same complaint?
Certainly.
Certainly. Have you any idea how this You Tell 'em Club can help you?
Certainly. Let them smile, let them win them in, let them treat them, let them give them a good time, and win his way. And by questionnaire.
You want us to tell them that?
That's right.
And the questionnaire, have them write in, huh?
That's right.
All right. Ladies who work with men, attention. That goes for the frail. That goes for the... It's a good thing that on this program I'm not a mind reader. I'll just pass that by, sailor. All right, ladies who work with men, attention. This goes to the girls in my office. You can make men like you. You can make men like Mr. Israel or Mr. Slater happy by being more congenial and more understanding. Be more considerate. Be sweeter to us. How's that, Mr. Israel?
That's okay with me.
It's all right if it works. Well, let's hope it does. Here's $5 more stamps, and thanks for coming to the You Tell 'Em Club with your complaint.
Our next new member comes with a message for the You Tell 'Em Club, Tom. She's a household favorite with a voice you love to hear. She is Miss Hollis Shaw, better known to you as Vivian, with the Phil Spitalny All-Girl Orchestra. Tom, meet Miss Hollis Shaw.
They asked me to meet her, and they call this work. I'll refund my check, or by war bond, but shall I say hello, Vivian, or hello, Hollis?
Now, Tom, you don't want me to answer that right here. Because I'm on the air every Sunday night, and...
I won't ask you where. Where's the hometown, Vivian?
California.
And how long have you been Vivian?
Well, I've been Vivian for about 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Hollis, I always envied your boss.
Well, why?
30 girls and only one man?
Why?
What a job.
Well, you're married, aren't you? Wouldn't do you any good.
People tell too many things. How long have you been singing, Vivian?
Oh, I think as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm. What type of things do you like to sing best?
Oh, opera and all the things that people love.
Mm-hmm. Attention, Eddie Johnson. Here's a very nice thing for opera. What's your message here tonight?
Ladies and gentlemen, the invasion is on. Next on the timetable of the United Nations Offensive Strategy are the Axis continental defenses and Japan's fortified positions in the Pacific. To America's fighting forces, this means attack by land, by sea, and by air. And to all of us at home, it means join the attack with everything we've got, digging deeper into our wages and our savings to buy invasion bonds. The least we can do is to prove to our fighting men that we are behind them, that we are willing to match every sacrifice that they are making by buying war bonds. Our armed forces' invasion morale is high, and we must prove our invasion morale is as high as theirs. We can by buying war bonds. Enough war bonds will send our men along the road to Berlin, to Tokyo, to victory, and back home. And we must back the attack with war bonds. Let's all say we will, by buying war bonds tonight.
Thank you for that swell message, Hollis. And now that you're a member of the You Tell 'Em Club, will you do something for another member?
Well, sure enough will. What is it?
One of our listening members, Mr. Converse Cleveland of Asbury Park, New Jersey, wrote in and requested an old-fashioned song entitled Dearie, and he asked to have you sing it, will you?
Oh, I'd love to.
Would you sing it to me?
I will, dearie.
Good. Let's hear it.
The world's growing older each day, and the world's growing colder, they say. Our world has no place for a dreamer of dreams. Ah, then it's no place for me, it seems. For I dream of you all the day long. You run through the hours like a song. Sometimes I think if the world could see my golden dreams, it would envy me. Dear
you so much, Hollis Shaw. And rest assured, we'll back the attack with war bonds. We now report the prize letter of the week, received from Miss Frances Butler of Staten Island, New York. Miss Butler's letter reads in part, Dear You Tell 'em Club, radio announcers say, write in, send us a question, a letter, a sketch, and I do. I've added to the burden of the postman, but I never get an answer. The result is that it gives me an inferiority complex, and I cannot look a radio in the face. What is the pill you recommend? Signed, Frances Butler. All right, Miss Butler, the pill has been sent to you in the form of $2.50 in war bonds. The You Tell 'em Club makes it possible for you to look your radio in the face because now you no longer can say that you didn't receive an answer to any of your radio letters. Please be assured, radio announcers, those that can write, try to answer all letters received.
Our next member joins the You Tell 'em Club for an unusual reason. He's here in search of a birthday cake. Tom, meet Mr. King.
How do you do, Mr. King?
How do you do, Mr. Slater?
Your voice is familiar, but your face is a strange one.
That goes double for you, Mr. Slater.
And it sure is. Double. Oh, of course. As if I didn't know. It's John Reed King of Double or Nothing.
You tell him, Tom.
John, did you really come to You Tell 'em Club in search of a birthday cake?
Yes, Tom, I did. It's Double or Nothing's 4th year on this station, and a birthday cake has been sent to us, but we can't find it, Tom. So I came to the You Tell 'em Club because this is the program where you dish it out, isn't it?
Yes, that's
Well, that's what made me think that maybe the cake and the ice cream were here.
Oh, that's ridiculous. We don't dish out cake and ice cream.
Well, then where is it? Where can it be?
Is this a Double or Nothing question?
You tell him.
Okay, I will. But you answer it.
No, I always ask the questions, Tommy.
On the You Tell 'em Club, anything can happen.
Oh, really?
Besides, you know you've been wanting a chance to be on the other side of the question.
Well, I just wanted the chance to try once to see what it was like, Tom.
Well, the You Tell 'em Club gives you that chance.
Well, yeah, but remember, the question is, where's the cake?
The cake is... Say, I'm quizzing this program.
Yeah, you tell him. Go ahead.
What is a birthday cake? There it is. Now, no prompting, please, audience. What's a birthday cake?
That's the question?
That's the question.
Yeah, could I ask a favor before I go into the question?
I don't know. This is serious. I want you to concentrate.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, but there's a gentleman out in the second row with a bald head and the light shining in my eyes. Do you mind? All right, now, what is a birthday...
the other way, please, mister?
Put his hat on. It'll be all right.
He's got a good head of skin, hasn't he?
Yes, he's
Go right ahead, please.
A birthday cake. Now, a birthday cake is used to celebrate a certain person's birthday.
Yes.
You start with rolling out the dough because you need plenty of sugar to dress it up right. You get the idea?
Had a double meaning. Therefore, you win the double layer cake. Would you like to try for the triple layer cake?
Oh, you bet. I love cake.
Just a cake eater, huh?
Wait a minute. I also like the cakewalk, and once I had a pancake landing without even wearing a pancake hat.
And I'm sure that once you were familiar with the patty cake.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I like mud cakes better.
Now, to get to the triple layer cake question.
Yeah, you tell us.
Here it is now.
Yes.
I want you to watch closely.
I'm listening.
Quiet, audience. If there's lemon in lemon cake, orange in orange cake, apple in apple cake, and vanilla in vanilla cake, here it is now. Watch. I hope you get it.
Yeah.
Why aren't there marbles in marble cake? Get you there, King.
For the same reason, there's no devil in devil cake, no angel in angel cake, and what's more, a turnover is no relation to an upside-down cake.
Very good, John Reed King. A hand for it. You win the triple layer cake.
The triple layer cake?
That's right.
Did you say 3? Triple layer. Well, I'd like to try for the 7-layer cake.
You sure are going to town on the You Tell 'em Club, aren't you?
Oh, you tell us.
Okay, here's your your 7-layer cake question.
Thank you.
We'll digress from the pastry division. Just confuse you a bit.
Digress, huh?
We could go into pie here, talk about how pious you are.
Oh, thank you.
You've got plenty crust.
Don't throw
Not
that. No, all right.
dough,
No,
though.
what's the
All right,
question?
here's the question. The question is, if a man smashed a clock, could he be accused of killing time?
Well, not if he proved that the clock struck first. But that's not a 7-layer cake question, Tom.
You're right, it's corn cake. Once in a while, too. Nevertheless, you win the 7-layer cake, John, and here it is.
Oh, really?
It's our little gift to you on the 4th birthday of Double or Nothing, and here's a wish that... Look at those candles. Those candles are big enough to chin yourself on. Here's a wish that on his 7th birthday, the 7-layer cake question will go again to John Reed King, quizmaster of Double or Nothing.
Well, I'm going to keep on looking for our cake, the missing one, but thanks a million for this one, just in case. Well, you tell him, Tom.
Thanks, John. It's been fun having you join our You Tell 'em Club.
Meet Mr. L. Stebner, who joins us with an idea.
Welcome to the You Tell 'em Club, Mr. Stebner.
Thank you.
Well, where do you come from, sir?
From Jersey City.
From Jersey City. You brought your relatives with you. What do you do over in Hague Town?
Well, I sell rubber tires.
You sell rubber tires?
Yes, sir.
Where do you get them to sell them?
Oh, that's the secret.
That's the secret. I'm going to have you on the floor till I get that secret before we get out of here tonight. What's this idea you have, Mr. Stebner?
Well, I have an idea to make people laugh a little more.
Oh, that's a grand idea, sir. The world needs laughs more today than ever. How do you propose to arouse the risibilities of people?
Well, by forming laugh clubs. Have groups of people meet and tell stories and funny jokes.
Mm-hmm. Clean ones, no doubt. And forget their troubles for the time, I suppose. How'd you get this idea?
Well, I go around and see so many people with sour pusses that I tell them funny jokes and stories and get them in good humor, laughing and so on and so forth.
I don't even have to tell them those jokes. I just go around, they look at me, and there they are. Are you a humorist, Mr. Stebner?
No, I'm not a professional, just an amateur. But when I go to parties, they want me to tell them stories and jokes.
You're the life of the party, I'll bet.
Well, I make them laugh.
Okay. At a friend's house last night, they said that I was the life of the party, the low life. But getting back to laugh clubs, I do think it's a grand idea. Laugh and grow fat, that's my motto, and you can see I'm carrying it out. But would you tell us one of the stories or jokes that you tell people to get them in a merry mood, Mr. Stebner?
Why, surely. A short time ago, I was out in Scranton. A man got on a bus with his little girl, and here's what happened. Home now, Russia. Good on bus car. Go home, rowdy up quick. Oh, bus cars go plenty quick.
Me want candy.
Oh, me got a nice big bunch of Chavunya lollipops here. Good for you. Make you big bunch of strong fairs like your Aunt Sosha.
No. Me want chocolate candy.
Look, a big bunch of people in Carlo got chocolate candy. You big gal now. What's the matter, you? You want a big bunches, Monia? Nickel?
No.
What's the matter with you all day? What I buy you today? I'd buy you apple with red candy outside stick, pickles, ice cream, potato chippies, frankfurter, chums gum, chocolate milk. You want to get them portable poison?
Yes, me want them portable poison.
All right, you catch them then.
That's the end? Very good, Mr. Stebner. I hereby nominate you as Big Chief Belly Laugh of the You Tell 'em Laugh Club. I noticed a while ago there the gentleman in the second row, whom I noticed applauding exceptionally loud. What do you think of the Laugh Club idea, sir? Yeah. You, too. What do you think of it, sir?
I think it's a good idea, Mr. Slater.
Yeah, you think it's great?
Yeah, people laugh more now and then they can work more the next day.
Yeah, all right. Well, if you... don't sit down, sir. If you'd come up here on the stage and tell a funny story, we'll make you charter member number 1 of Mr. Stebner's club. How about it? Will you come up here, sir? He's fumbling, but he's coming anyhow. All right, come right on up. Come up a little closer here. Come up to the microphone here. Good, sir?
I mean, he tells a terrific story. It's going to be hard to
that's all right, sir.
do anything with it.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Ted Sawyer.
Sawyer, where are you from?
I'm from Orange, New Jersey.
Mr. Sawyer of Orange, I'd like you to meet Big
Jersey
Chief.
City.
Jersey City and Orange. I'd like you to meet Stebner there, the Big Chief. All right, sir? Here we go. Would you promise to start a You Tell 'em Laugh Club in your city, in your neighborhood?
Yeah, we practically have one now, but we're not really well organized.
All right, now let's have your joke or your funny story, sir. Would you please, Mr. Sawyer?
Well, the only thing that comes to my mind now is a story about the mother who was worried about her backward child. He was mentally backward.
Yeah.
And finally she decided to take him to the psychiatrist.
Then Mr. Slater.
Well, we won't mention personalities. And she went into the doctor, the psychiatrist, and she said, take care of little Johnny. And he said, certainly. And Johnny came over very, very confidentially, and the doctor said, now, let me see what you're going to say when I ask you a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Johnny, suppose, now this is only make-believe.
Yeah.
Suppose I take off one ear and discard it and throw it away.
Oh, my.
How would you feel? What would your reaction be? Well, Johnny said, well, if you'll take off the ear so you couldn't hear so good.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a perfectly normal reaction. Now, let's assume, only make believe, Johnny, that I take off the other ear and discard it and throw it away.
Yeah.
How would you feel then? Yeah, well, then I couldn't see so good. Yeah, well, now that's a strange reaction, Johnny. One ear, quite correctly, you don't hear, and the other ear you don't see. How do you explain that? Because, well, the hat'll fall over my eyes.
Oh, thank you. Before you go, Mr. Sawyer, here's a carton of cigarettes. Run it down before I get it. I noticed that Mr. Kipple, the renting agent, standing there in the wings laughing his head off. Would you step out here, Mr. Kipple? Laughing himself sick. Come out here. Bring that necktie along with you. You seem to enjoy the stories, Mr. Kipple.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny.
You run into any depressed tenants?
Yeah, every time I collect the rent.
Every time. Why don't you start a laugh club with us?
Well, we practically have. When I heard a wonderful story, one of my tenants in apartment 4E, I went in there for the rent, and he said to me, Mr. Kipple, the man, Mr. Jones, in the next apartment, he won't be able to be drafted. And I said, to this tenant in 4E, why won't he be drafted? He said, he's in 4F. I said, what if you...
Uh-huh.
4F, you get the idea?
I get the idea. Thank you very much.
We have another story about a married couple. I won't tell that
No,
yet.
don't. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Mr. Kipple. Anyone wishing to join or form a You Tell 'em Laugh Club, write to Chief Belly Laugh Stebner, care of You Tell 'em Club, 1775 Broadway, New York, 19 New York. Mr. Stebner, we started the ball rolling. I'm sure the idea's going click here. $5 and more stamps. Thanks for joining the You Tell 'em Club. And so we close the 8th meeting of the You Tell 'em Club. Thank you for being with us, members, and be sure to join our meeting next week. Tom Slater saying good night.
Get out that pen and ink and write tonight and tell us about your ambition, suggestion, constructive criticism, complaint, invention, talent, or anything else on your mind you'd like to get off your chest. People appearing on our program receive $5 in war stamps. If your letter is read, you receive $2.50 in war stamps. If you'd like to attend our meetings, write in for tickets. Address your letter to the You Tell 'em Club, WOR, New York 18, New York. The You Tell 'em Club was conceived and edited by Eleanor Wells and directed by Roger Bauer. Your announcer, George Willard, saying good night, everybody. This is Mutual.
The Adventures of Jane Arden, a thrilling drama of a fearless girl reporter, the most beautiful woman in the newspaper world. Jane Arden, Star Arden.